And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of New Book Who Dis. I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is Mike Murphy, and we are going to talk Longshadow and the Prince of Echoes today.
Yes,
What's going on, Mike? How you doing, man?
I am doing good, man. It's good to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming to hang out. I wasn't familiar with this book until you contacted me and taking a look at it. It looks pretty fun, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is the second one that you've worked on, right? This is you had a campaign before, or is this the one you've been working on?
We've done a couple campaigns now. So our first out the gate was Samurai and Dinosaurs. Then we did The Gods Fear Me, and then there was Deep Well, which is going to be going to print sometime probably early April. And now our fourth major release is Longshadow.
Right on, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, man.
So, have you been reading anything recently? Do you read stuff while you're creating, or do you just kind of cloister yourself away and kind of work on your story and then go back to enjoying, your entertainment, as it were?
It's somewhere in between. Like I just kind of like my entire to read stack is an entire bookcase, so I just kind of chip away at that little by little.
Yeah.
So I don't read anything specific as I'm, developing a project. I kind of just let my brain be a sponge, and I've used this phrase in one or two other streams, you know when something's done cooking.
Right.
And if it doesn't feel done cooking and you try to force it, it never comes out right.
No, it never fully sets up to continue the cooking metaphor.
Yeah. Basically when the two examples I use is when I can see the trailer for the story in my head, I know it's close. And when I can literally visualize the entire movie in my head, I'm like, okay, I know A to B to C, and I start working on an outline.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. No, that's seems like a great way to get it rolling. Let's say hello to the chat. We got a leg kick. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming to hang out. We got this weirdo skulled face looking dude in the chat, and stay away from him. What's up, Wookie? Thanks for coming to hang out, man. Good to see you. Hello, Flying Feline. Skull, thanks for coming to hang out.
Yeah, thanks,
My
everybody.
favorite troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And partner in crime. Slinging links for me and stuff like that.
That's great.
We got a Humi. What's going on, Humi? Says, sup, folks.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome. So, what was the last thing you read before you started working on Longshadow? Was there something that really stuck out to you recently?
Yeah. So, it was kind of a confluence of things heading into doing an illustrated pulp novel. I think the last thing that I read was the complete collection of Solomon Kane.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that really it's the most recent edition with the Gary Gianni illustrations, and Gary Gianni has ties to the art school that I went to, and he's an incredible illustrator, and it was coming out of that, and it was seeing the positive reaction to the prequel novella that we included in The Gods Fear Me. Yeah. That let me know okay, this is viable. I think it might be an uphill battle, but it might be one taking on, because I think that there's a way to modernize pulp for a current audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's almost a surprise that it's not been done before, or at least more prevalent. Thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I was it had completely slipped my mind. I was on with Raging Golden Eagle 2 weeks ago, I think, and he brought up that the format still basically exists. It's just not called pulp over in Japan. They do light novels.
Yeah.
Which are, illustrated novels.
Which is mostly text and then a few illustrations, right?
Right. So the format is still out there in the world. It's just here in the West, it's not something that we've capitalized on or modernized.
Well, we like pictures over here.
We do like pictures, and I get that. Like the first, I think, 3 weeks of the campaign were really rough, just because I don't think people got it.
Right.
But now that we're easing into our second 30 and we're like way past the halfway point in funding, I think it's catching on, and I'm positive we're going to hit our goal. And as long as we can secure our audience for this, I'd love to do one a year for the foreseeable future.
Very cool. Yeah. um, so I guess that was kind of the thing that inspired you to do this book this way.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, it
the
was.
Solomon Kane with because the illuminated manuscripts would be the ones with the flowery letters on them.
Right, right.
But yeah, illustrate. I mean, Cycle of the Werewolf, Stephen King.
Mm,
It's a classic example. Bernie Wrightston
yeah,
illustrated that one, and it's a fantastic story.
right.
Fantastic artwork. So I mean, it's definitely a viable thing. It's again, like you said, people just need to know that's what they're getting into when they're getting into it.
Right. Yeah, it was a bunch of different things all rolled into one. But like Solomon Kane did kind of put the bug in me, and
Hmm.
again the positive feedback to the Million Eyes of Our Conqueror, the prequel novella for God's Fear Me.
Hmm.
Once kind of people saw the proof of concept version of what a modern pulp story could be, I was like, oh, okay, like let's go for this and see how it turns out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pulp stories are essentially where we got our industry. That's where our superheroes came from. They were born out of the pulp novels.
Yeah, like I even say in the campaign, you can trace a direct line from the pulps all the way through Superman to The Witcher. Like there, it's
Hmm.
it's pretty much just a straight line. And yeah, like the pulp era, when it comes to fantasy, the beginnings of superheroes, crime,
Oh
all
yeah.
these different genres that are popular today, science fiction, like it
Yeah.
all kind of started
The
in the
weed
pulps.
of crime bears
Bears
bitter
bitter
fruit,
feuds. Yep,
and so says the shadow.
yep. The
Yeah.
shadow knows.
Oh yeah. I mean, and fucking Shadow had radio plays and like hit serial like movie serials that people would go see,
Yeah,
and and the pulp novels and illustrated novels and stuff like that. So I mean, it's yeah, the Shadow was around before Batman for
yeah.
those paying attention.
Yeah, I know I'm not the first to bring this up, but people talk about the popularity of Batman and how kind of oversaturated he is in the market. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, the late 30s, early 40s for the Shadow, like again, like you said, the radio plays, the pulps,
Hmm.
the film serials, two film serials in 1 year. Like what Batman is now can't compare to how popular the Shadow was back then.
That is absolutely accurate. And it's funny that the world has kind of forgotten how popular the Shadow was.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and it's
it's
it's a tough nut to crack. I know companies like Dynamite keep taking stabs at it, but I think Garth Ennis came close, but like the one thing that you can't do, you should never say can't, but the one thing I wouldn't do is don't drop the Shadow into modern day. Um,
no. I mean, it's a character of that era.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
I mean,
so many of those
I don't know. I
miniseries.
feel like if you could, I feel like you could do it though. It could be done. I feel like somebody like Warren Ellis could do it.
Sure,
I
sure,
think Garth Ennis could do it. You know,
yeah,
especially if it was like a man out of time story.
right.
Like if the Shadow was brought forward from back then to now, I definitely think that Garth Ennis could handle something like that.
Yeah, and even talking about it, I'm like, okay, well maybe. And
Mm-hmm.
like if I followed the pattern that I'm going to be following with Longshadow, which I said I'd like to do one a year, because ideally in my head I see three trilogies for Longshadow, and
Okay.
the reason it's three is because besides modernizing pulp, like one of my things is, especially with fantasy, like you get some variation in superhero fiction or science fiction, but it seems in fantasy we're really kind of locked into the format and the formula.
Hmm.
There's some deviation, but like basically if you've read half a dozen fantasy stories, you've read most fantasy stories. And
Yeah, I mean, six and yeah, one half dozen of the other. Sure.
sure. So like my thing is,
What's up, Wyatt?
there's
Welcome.
so much room. Hey, how's it going, Wyatt?
Thanks for
There
coming to hang out.
there's so much room to expand fantasy, and
Hmm.
there's stuff that I've seen other companies do over the past several decades that I haven't seen writers or companies do. Like, so I want the first trilogy of Longshadow to be a traditional, noir fantasy epic. And then there's going to be a time jump because, and this isn't a spoiler because it happens in the first couple pages of the first book.
Hmm.
Longshadow is cursed with immortality. So we're going to make a jump from a traditional fantasy setting to a fantasy based modern setting. I use Scotty Young's Middle West and Bright, the movie that Max Landis wrote for Netflix.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I use those as references. It's not one to one, but like just that line of thinking,
Yeah.
or like the RPG series Blood Shadows.
Okay. Not familiar,
So
but okay.
yeah, so that'll be the middle trilogy, and then with the third trilogy, we're going full 40K. So we're going all the way to the distant future for this, fantasy kingdom. And so, like tying it back to that whole thing we were saying with the shadow, like, okay, well, maybe there is a way to modernize the shadow if you tell this one giant epic story that takes place over several hundred years, potentially,
Mhm.
But maybe. I don't know. They'd have to pay me.
Gotta get paid for the work for sure. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer, and then we can talk more about the story. I mean, you've already answered a couple of my questions, the scope and whatnot. But
Okay.
let me go ahead and bring up cat. I have a cat attempting to overtake my footrest.
That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
All right, share screen, Chrome tab. All right, now let's see. Find if I resize it about. Yay big.
There you go.
I can usually get as much screen real estate as I can.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it is.
nice.
Thanks, man.
Very nice. Who did your trailer for you?
I did.
Nice. Very cool.
Thank you.
DIY all the way.
Yeah,
Love to
all the
hear
way,
it.
man. Yeah, the
Love
trailers
to
have
hear it.
become one of my favorite parts of running these campaigns.
Well, I mean, a good trailer will catch them eyes and will build up that interest.
Yeah, definitely.
A really well done trailer is your best hype man, honestly.
Yeah, for sure,
Because
man.
people
Absolutely.
can watch it over and over and over again to keep getting that little bit of excitement.
Yeah,
And so-
yeah. This was our
up,
third
Miss
trailer.
Goodstuff? Welcome.
The first two. Hey, Miss Good Stuff. The first two were close but weren't quite on the mark. I think I got it with this one though.
Mike got skills. Frog G is correct.
Well, thank you,
Frog
Frog G.
G says nice. Like Kick says, how about Frank Miller writes a Shadow series with Sterenko art? I mean, I could, yeah.
I'd read
I
it.
could be, I could be persuaded to buy that very easily.
I think most people in this audience could be persuaded.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey-oh, we got a Pops in the chat. What's going on, Pops? Thanks for coming to hang out,
Hey.
man.
Hey, Pops.
Okay. So, how many pages are we talking? God, that is beautiful. Preston just knocked it out of the park with that. Look at this.
I know.
Look at this. Look
I
at
know. I just the only thing that I told him was go full Frazetta, and he just ran with it.
Yes. That is the perfect thing to tell Preston.
Yeah.
Perfect thing to tell Preston. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's
right.
gorgeous.
So, how many pages are we looking at with the pulp novel?
Yeah,
Longshadow.
we're looking at a base 112 pages. But again, I have to factor in about between 20 and 30 illustrations into that. So it's probably going to be closer to 120, 130, somewhere in there.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely text heavy, but Jeff Lasley, our cover artist, he's going to be doing the interiors, and these are samples of his interior work. So there's going to be a fair amount of illustrations throughout this thing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Jeff's been doing great work.
Feline says she is my body goal. Wyatt says Frazetta booty for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Wyatt.
EE says Joe. Somebody was paying attention. Humi says trying to stay warm. LOL. Very cool. All right, so Longshadow is an ogre detective for hire, living and operating out of the small village of Cole on Brick. In the rowdy tavern known as Amber Glass, he takes on cases and often finds himself way over his head. Such is the case when a mysterious woman with mystic abilities calls on him to venture into the lands of old country. His task? To hunt down the deadly vile being known only as the Prince of Echoes. Accepting the job, Longshadow is catapulted into an adventure that will affect not only the rest of his life, but the entire kingdom of Elos. Very cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's a cool. I like this image right here.
Yeah, lots
With the
of
sword.
Easter eggs in there. So like I mentioned in the trailer, this is so one of the reasons for doing this campaign is we've got two big campaigns coming out later this year. The Gods Fear Me 2 in May, and the Red Key in probably early August. And I knew that those two books were going to take the better part of a year to get into people's hands. So I
Right.
wanted something with quick turnaround that I could get to people with in less than 6 months' time.
Right.
So one of the teasers is this is going to be the first canonical appearance of the Red Key, our major superhero release in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to see him first before the book comes out, this is the place to see it.
Yep. There's going to be a chapter where they
Get it.
clash, and there's tons of Easter eggs in that image. For
Nice.
anyone who's been generous enough to follow us across all of our releases, there's a ton of stuff going on in there.
Frog G, slinging them links. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks
you
so much, Frog
Thank
G.
you very much. Appreciate that. And the map. Who did the map? The cartography for you?
I did the map.
Nice, very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I was surprised. Like I've been saying across every stream, like once again proving how thirsty CG is for maps, because this sold out within a day or two.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, man.
Yeah, we love our maps here.
Well, I mean, I have a map of Narnia on the wall over here in the library.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
When you when you enjoy the fantasy, you want to map, especially since I'm sure a lot of the audience is probably D&D players.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know, so it's only natural to want a map of the area that you're thinking about looking at.
Yeah.
So you know exactly where you're at.
And plus, like, on the writing end of things, like, it's just helpful.
Absolutely. Fantasy becomes complete when you add a map. See?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
It is real fantasy after that.
For sure.
Let's see. Just scrolling, very much like the artwork you put up on the page here.
Thank you. So, so most of that is character design work that I did for Jeff, just so that he had reference for what he was going to be illustrating.
Right.
And up there is the cover by me for our prequel novel, which is called A Murder in Amberglass. And that's
is that this one?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
So this is Sweet Alice. She's kind of Longshadow's Girl Friday, if we're running with noir tropes. She's the head barkeep of Amberglass, which is a small tavern in Colon Brick. And so the prequel novella takes place 8 years prior to the start of book 1. It's the first night that Longshadow arrives in town, and he stops for a drink and some grub, and within a half hour, there's a murder. And of course, he's a 7-foot-tall ogre. All eyes are on him.
Right, of course.
So he's got to solve a locked room mystery and clear his name at the same time.
All right. So this is totally set up like a pulp adventure. You've got he's got his office where he hangs out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the way that's set up, like the whole detective thing. I mean, that is essentially what a lot of urban fantasy uses now.
Yeah, that's very true.
It works. It helps to build like a cohesive world. Taking short little jaunts. Doing short stories in that way to get an idea and a feel for the world.
Yeah, definitely. And paying like one more thing that I haven't talked about too much when talking about Colon Brick is so he has made a home for himself in the town, and there's a small mountain just outside of town called Master Point. And drawing back on, as we've talked about, like Batman, the Shadow, Zorro, they allowed Longshadow to claim Master Point as his own. So over the past 8 years, he's literally by hand carved out his own lair / headquarters. And so we've basically given him his own Batcave / Zorro's cave.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's right. Zorro had a cave. See, Batman didn't even have. That's not even original to Batman.
Yeah, no, there ain't no. Look, I love Batman, but there ain't nothing original about Batman.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Go back to pulp.
There you go. That's what I'm doing.
Reject modernity. Go back to pulp.
Sure. Let's do that.
Right. I mean, a lot of fun stuff in the pulps, and thinking about this illustrated novel idea, it actually kind of reminds me of some of the issues of Poison Elves that Drew Hayes would do. I don't know if you're familiar with the black and white indie comic Poison Elves.
Yeah.
But Drew Hayes, especially during like the Sanctuary story arc, he would do just that. It would be like one really long, tall illustration, and then text on the side,
Yeah, I feel like that was a thing with indie creators in the
Mm.
90s and in the 80s through the early 2000s even, because I know he did that. Um, Terry Moore would do that a lot with
Yeah.
Strangers in Paradise.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even
So it's yeah.
even
Go ahead.
Morrison would drop it sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, Alan Moore would occasionally do it.
Right.
Very rarely have I seen Warren Ellis do it. I mean, mostly if it was like a collection thing. I think it was in Transmetropolitan, but that
Right.
was
Yeah, yeah.
more like stills, and then there was a caption that he wrote for it. So
Right.
not quite the same thing,
Right.
but yeah, it's definitely a thing in the indie comic scene. So it's part of the DNA, as it were.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at your tiers here.
Sure.
So, scrolly. The swag bag.
The swag bag.
Yeah,
So,
we
what do we
always
get
use
in the
swag
swag
bags.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. Like every one of our campaigns has had a swag bag.
Everybody loves a
set.
swag bag.
Yeah, sure, man. So, with the swag bag, you're going to be getting the book. You're going to be getting a copy of the prequel novella. You'll be getting a Longshadow trading card. You'll be getting a print of the map. You'll be getting a Longshadow sticker, and you'll also be getting a mini poster of the cover itself.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All for $50.
Yep.
That's pretty fucking great, man.
We try to make it worth people's money.
Yeah, definitely. Mini poster, stickers, map print, trading card, prequel novella, and the novel.
The book.
Shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
Thank you.
And so, okay, you get the digital edition here.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right, and the main cover, which is
Right.
what we've been looking at, and then the Preston Acevedo alt cover.
Yep.
Now, is it just going to be the pencils like this?
Yeah, well, so it's he's
Yeah,
our
I'll just leave
main
it on that for
alternate
you guys.
cover artist, and they've always been in pencil/black and white this whole time. But with this one, he's talked about wanting to do some grayscale stuff and playing around with light sources. So it's still going to be in black and white, but it might kind of have like a painterly grayscale look to it.
All right, might have a little bit more spit and polish.
A little bit more.
Nice. I mean, it's gorgeous already.
Yeah,
Preston does fantastic work.
yeah. I mean,
choice.
the alternate cover they did for The Gods Fear Me with the Puppet King is still like one of my favorite covers. So yeah, like he always knocks it out of the park.
Oops. Scroll it back. Ooh, there's a new illustration. Did I not
Yep.
see that one earlier? Did that not load? Where did it go?
There it is.
Oh, I didn't get down here.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
so this is new.
That's Sim.
That's my boy Sim.
Yeah.
He
That's good.
contributed. Yeah, right. He contributed this piece, and it's going to be a free print that is going to be sent out to all physical backers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ha! That's Matt.
That's Matt.
Metal Movies and Brewskis. Yeah. That's my boy.
Yeah, Matt's been really supportive of this campaign, and he worked this up and gave us the okay to sell the original art as a tier.
Nice. Matt's good people, man.
He is. He really is.
I did a trading card for the new Butch Cleaver campaign.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Matt's good peeps. I like that
He,
dude.
absolutely, man.
Let's see, and we're scrolling back up. Okay, so both covers for $43. Get a bit of a discount.
Yep.
And
Both
then,
covers.
the chibi pack, digital chibi pack. What's going on here?
Yeah, so both with the digital and the physical version of this, I just blatantly stole the idea from Mandy. With all of our campaigns, what we're going to do is we'll have this perk set up where, for all of our new readers who come in with each successive campaign, if you want to get caught up, all you have to do is buy this perk, like I said, digital or physical. The physical sold out, but it'll be back in stock for our next campaign. And, every time there's a new campaign, we're just going to slap another book on top of the stack, and you can get everything that we've published to date.
Right on. Hell yeah. And that's an easy one to put on your tablet and just read
Yeah,
while
absolutely.
you're on the treadmill, or
Mm-hmm.
on the bus, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
To me that's the beauty of digital comics is portability,
Yeah,
mobility with them. Being
yeah.
able to take an entire library of books with me, like if you're going on vacation or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm at home, definitely give me a physical book. I
Yeah,
like the smell of the paper. I like the feel of the paper.
of course, of course.
All right, Longshadow and Red Key clash.
Yeah,
Oh, so this is the art. So
yeah,
this is original art. Wow.
yeah. So this is where the original art starts. Yeah, Jeff has given the okay to sell some of these the panel works from the actual interiors, and the first one sold out. We've still got Longshadow and Red Key up for grabs, and yeah, like probably around the time where we cross funding and go into in demand, I'll have him do another 2 or 3 more, and we'll put
Right.
those up for sale too.
Right on. And premium swag 3 of 8.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do with the premium swag is you'll get all the standard stuff with the regular swag sets, but
Gotcha.
you'll each of these you'll be getting one piece of the character design art that I've done for the book. So the first
Ah.
two sold out, but this one is the Prince of Echoes in his kind of bare form. I know I haven't talked about the Prince of Echoes much. Basically, I wanted to do my take on a vampire story, and
Mhm.
Instead of consuming blood, think of him as like a mystical, parasitical, the thing like take, on a vampire. So he's this kind of formless being that's made out of like smoke and ash, and he consumes a person's actual spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, and then inhabits their body. And when the shell of the body is, run out,
Mm.
he looks for a new host.
Ah, okay. Yeah. That definitely kind of fits the thing of a vampire. Definitely more of a parasitic thing rather than just the straight sanguinating
Yeah,
version.
and plus, there's something kind of gnarly about the idea of people literally like feeling themselves being wiped from existence.
Well, I mean, it's basically stealing and eating the essence. Then
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's not just killing them. That's erasing them
yeah,
completely.
yeah.
It's pretty hardcore, Chuck.
it gets pretty gnarly, man.
Yeah. All right, the many echoes get drawn in.
Yes.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah,
So these are always fun. People love being drawn into a book.
absolutely.
It adds a connection.
Yeah, there'll be
The
a
ka,
point.
Feline says.
The ka, yeah.
The ka, yeah.
There's look, we're building a Murphyverse, and I've been using the example of it's less MCU, it's less Sam Jackson is going to walk in and invite someone to join the Avengers, and
Right.
it's more Stephen King's approach to a multiverse where each story is its own thing, but if our audience is gracious enough to follow us across all of our titles, you're going to start seeing some connective tissue.
I like it. To me that's more of a natural. It's more of a natural connection.
Yeah.
That's actually the funny thing is that's actually what the comics used to be.
Yeah.
They used to be more of a natural connection, like things pop up here and there, and then there would be crossovers, but it wouldn't be this forced thing where, hi, we must show up in your movie so we can plug our next movie, so then you can show up and plug your next movie.
Yeah.
That's not the way it was supposed to be. So I like that you're building a universe like slowly but surely, and it'll just
Yeah.
grow and connect. That's cool. I feel like that's a much better way to do it.
Thanks, man. I'm working hard here.
I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds like you're having fun with it too. It sounds like you're excited about it.
Oh,
And
absolutely,
that's
man.
what we need.
Yeah, like, look, I wish I could just like like dump all of this shit out of my head and just tell people all spoiler stuff for like the next 10 years worth of books. But
nah, you just gotta dole it out in little bits and shape it and mold it and
yep,
make it perfect.
absolutely.
All right, so and then you got damn it, I did it again.
It's all good.
The Matt Burke pit up.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the original. It's an 11 by 17. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the novel. How big is the novella original art?
That's 11 by 17 as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah. And the what was it? Where'd he go? This guy, Prince of Echoes. How big is that one?
Those are like 5.5 by 8.5, roughly.
Okay.
So about the size of a mini comic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, main cover original art. Check this out.
Yeah, man. Jeff sent this to me about 2 weeks ago now. This thing is really pretty in person. Like,
oh, I bet, man. Here, hang on. Let me begin.
there you go.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So acrylic on, pretty thick board.
Yeah.
Mighty pretty.
Acrylic on Bristol, it looks like.
Yep.
That's awesome. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
Well done, Jeff. All right, and then the Preston cover original art.
The one and only.
The one and only. That's crazy. And it looks like all the rest of this stuff is sold out. Look at that.
I know. Whoops, it's still stuck on me.
So, oh. Sorry.
That's all right.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, so scrolling back over here now. So there was the original cover art and then the Preston art. So all the rest of the stuff is sold out. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We'd love to see that.
Yeah, we've had some very gracious backers throughout this campaign.
Awesome. Let's see. So we'll scroll back up here. We'll just leave it on that picture because it's so pretty.
It is.
All right. So I know you said it earlier, but how big is this story? And are there plans to ever do like a full comic book as opposed to illustrated novels?
Sure. I'd as I've been saying, like let's focus on the funding for the main book first. But yeah,
Sure.
like eventually down the line, be it with Jeff illustrating it fully or finding another artist who is a good fit for Longshadow, I'd love to do comic adaptations or maybe just stories that kind of fit between the cracks. Because there's some time between each novels, and then there's going to be some time between each set of trilogies. So that's a lot of room to play with.
Yeah. A trilogy of trilogies. What's up, Dean? How you doing there, mate?
Hey, Dean. Yeah,
welcome.
He's peeping.
He's peeping. Yeah. It's just whenever I see his avatar, just the squinting.
Yeah.
The distrusting squint. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that's a trilogy of trilogies of books.
Yeah.
Right. Of the same style as this, the illustrated novel.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever end up doing like comics of the illustrated novels, like the same story, just actually as a comic book?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if there's an audience for it, we're happy to produce whatever, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe it would work out that after each trilogy we take a year off and like do an adaptation of one of the books and then go back to the next trilogy. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that the some of the adaptations, the comic book, the adaptations of like some of the other fantasy novels seem to do pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
I'm speaking like as in like the stuff I've seen come into the shop that I work in. So I mean, I think there's an audience for it.
Yeah, definitely. If we were going to do like a full adaptation in one book, it would have to probably be a minimum of like 48 pages.
Sure.
But yeah, it could be done. Yeah, like I've been asked it a couple times. Yeah, I'm open to it. It's just the reality is like just figuring it into our production schedule, because
Sure.
like by the time we're heading into next year,
Right.
we'll have, assuming Longshadow funds and is successful, we're going to have basically 4 books in steady rotation. So it'll be this. We'll be shipping God's Fear Me 2 next year, so we'll be doing God's Fear Me 3 funding, the Red Key 2, and then Deep Well Volume 3. So yeah, like just juggling.
You got a lot of projects in the works already. All right.
Yeah, man,
Definitely.
we'll get there.
Well,
We'll get there.
yeah. This really looks like a fun world, and I do really like the pulp noir aspect of it. I don't know if you've ever read any of the Dresden Files, but
I read the first book like way more than a decade ago.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a series that I've been following for a long time, and when it comes to novels, I usually have to do audiobooks because I've got stacks upon stacks upon stacks of comics that I need to read.
Same here.
And you actually have to look at a comic book, but an unabridged audiobook, I can listen to that while I'm doing the dishes, mowing the lawn, doing whatever. And that's how I get my novels in. And,
Absolutely.
So anyway, said all that to say that probably the reason why I've enjoyed it so much is because what's his name, James Marsters, from Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He did he read them.
Oh, he does
an
the
amazing
narration?
job doing
That's
a whole cast of characters, which really surprised me. I was not
That's
expecting that when I started listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's they're really well done. So if you ever get a chance, but anyway, he's a detective. He's a magician detective he's a wizard detective in Chicago.
Right.
So the whole detective vibe here that I'm getting, I dig it. I like those kind of stories, and there's not a lot of that type of story anymore. It's almost like the investigative pulp fiction type thing, has gone by the wayside.
Yeah,
Been forgotten about.
Yeah, and even again, bringing it back to something like Batman, even in quote unquote detective comics, like there's not much actual detective work going on.
I mean, I haven't read a Batman book since Jeff Loeb wrote Hush and Jim Lee was drawing it. That was the last time I read a Batman book. Maybe it was a Batman Superman with Michael Turner doing the artwork, but I haven't read Batman in a long time.
I'm sticking with Tinian's Batman run, which I know is coming up to an end really soon, and that's
right.
Honestly, that's next to the Brubaker stuff from Image. Like that's the only mainstream stuff I'm reading these days.
Echo Lands from Image is pretty good.
Okay.
J.H. Williams is doing some amazing stuff.
Is that the widescreen book?
Yes. Oh my God. He's taken 2 11x17s and taping the top of the pages together, and you've just got this gigantic double page spread. It is just unreal.
That's crazy,
and
man.
Changing art styles. I mean, the story is a lot of fun. Definitely worth checking out, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still some fun stuff out there. You just gotta dig for it. You gotta look for it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, like what we're doing here. Shedding light on fun, unique stories, and that's really what this is all about, right?
Absolutely,
telling good stories, entertaining your audience.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I've said from day one, like as long as people keep supporting us, we'll keep producing this stuff. We're trying to play with format, we're trying to play with genre, and we're trying to get as much entertaining content as we can out there. But, first and foremost, we want to provide something that people want to read, something to help pass the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, escapism, stories, entertainment. We tell ourselves stories to record our history, and, we tell ourselves stories to remember things, but we also tell ourselves stories to entertain, to, I don't know, escape from our day-to-day, you know? Stories. They're an intrinsic part of who we are as people.
Yes.
You know, no matter where we come from all over the globe. Stories are one of the things that is pretty common across all peoples.
For sure, man.
All told stories.
Yeah,
around fires, you know, writing things down now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Longshadow is a character that I've been living with for the better part of 10 years now. You know, be it pen and paper or be it an RPG with a character creation system, I've been rolling as Longshadow for over a decade now.
That's awesome. Okay, that actually does remind me of a question I wanted to ask. What are the origins of Longshadow, like the character?
Yeah, so you know, like you know, for I don't know, maybe one or two brief D&D campaigns, and then you know, transitioning into video games. Well, you can't really have like an orc or ogre class in Dark Souls, but I try to ugly him up a little bit. But you know, it's like
strength build.
Yeah, he's a good fill in the Elder Scroll series. Which actually the last time that I played in a role playing game as him was Skyrim. So this is the Dragonborn.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I've actually never played any of those. I've watched a few videos of people you know, raving about them and the in-depthness of the story, but I've never actually gotten a chance to play one. Not usually not much for first-person games, to be honest.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, man.
Dark Souls, on the other hand, I do like.
Well, yeah, Dark Souls. Oh man, Elden Ring. I'm fighting the urge to like run and pick that up.
Oh, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one looks like a lot of fun. Gameplay mechanics, story wise. You know, apparently George R.R. Martin was you know, helping out on that one.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, so I played Demon Souls, I played all three Dark Souls, I played Bloodborne, and then I was kind of getting tired with the formula, so I sat out Sekiro. But you know, it's been about 4 years now, and I'm kind of getting the itch, especially seeing all the Elden Rings coverage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been watching a good bit of the Elden Ring coverage as well.
Yeah.
From what I never got a chance to play Sekiro either, but from what I heard, it kind of shook up the formula. And Elden Ring is kind of like the culmination of everything that they've learned from all their games. You know, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all three. You know, Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and puts it all together.
Right. I think the weirdest thing for me is I've seen
What's up,
that.
Jay Dalla?
Hey, Jay Dalla. I've seen when you're on your horse that there isn't really fall damage. I don't know that I'm going to be able to adjust my brain to that.
Well, you know, just got to roll with it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's from Soft Game. I mean, this is the first one where they've had a mount.
Yeah, that alone, just the fact that there's a horse is weird.
Yeah, well, and horse combat.
Yeah,
like on horse combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been thinking about you know, picking up the game and you know, just live streaming, you know, the disaster that would be my playthrough, because I haven't played a Dark Souls game in forever.
Yeah, man.
Like a Souls type game, I haven't played one of those in forever.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd definitely be rusty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the game will just brutally beat you to death until you get it.
Right.
Or you throw the controller down in frustration. One or the other. But you know what's not frustrating?
What's
Backing this book.
Please do.
Get either that cover, or get them both.
Get them both, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, grab the swag bag up here.
Absolutely. Yeah,
now,
and then you can do we have an add-on for Preston's cover, so you could still get it that way even if you got the
There you go. Yeah. Well, there you go. So you can get the swag bag, so you get the main cover, and you get Preston's awesome, badass, hot ass cover.
Very much the one and only.
The one and only. He does great work, man. I love that dude.
Yeah, he's such a great guy. and an
I got to admit,
incredible artist.
he is indeed. I got to admit, I'm very curious about the sword that she's wielding there. It's seems to just be a black void. Does that get explained in the book?
Yeah, so the thing that I've been teasing out with the sword and Redlocks is, does she
Mm-hmm.
own the sword or does the sword own her?
Okay. All right. Very cool. See,
Yeah.
I love mysteries. I love. Scroll down. What?
What?
Okay. Oh, this one.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Is that better? Yo.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. There you go. Hopefully that's. Can I continue? No, okay. That is a great panel, though, and I'm very curious to see the part of the story that's from. So is he working in ink washes? Is that
Yeah, I told him he could just do straight up black and white line art, and he really
Mhm.
wanted to add in those tones, man. So he's going in with ink wash.
the tones really give it a lot of depth.
Yeah.
I like it. There's some subtlety going on there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, and I don't know. I don't think there's enough of that stuff done. I mean, enough of that stuff done well.
Sure.
You don't see it. I mean, I imagine a lot of people don't do it just because it's not the easiest thing to do correctly, and you can very well fuck shit up.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
there's no control Z when you're doing that shit.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be, whether it's ink washes or even like acrylic or watercolor, you have to be really careful because it's easy to build something up, but then if you build it up too much, like it's not going anywhere. It's there. It's part of the illustration.
Yep. Absolutely. Oops. There we go. See, there we go. See, that's where where I needed to go.
Yes.
That was apparently the scroll part. So there we go. Well, guys, do you have any questions for Mike before we go ahead and wrap this one up here? And is there anything else that you want to mention? Hey, I finally got it framed properly so we can see all of that panel and most of that one down there. Look at me.
There's a big emphasis on swords. I'm really happy with the design work that Jeff and me and Preston have been putting into this stuff. So Longshadow's blade is called Elder Pain, and so the main inspiration for the blade was, for anyone who's seen Dusk Till Dawn, the short dagger that Tarantino stabs Danny Trejo with and then stabs into the table. It was an all glass blade covered in blood. That was the influence. And as far as the history of the blade, in our world, dragons are pretty much extinct, if not really, really rare. And as they decompose and fossilize, their bones turn to diamond-like substance.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually a blade carved and formed from fossilized dragon bone.
That adds a different layer. That's cool.
Yeah. So
Very
just teasing some stuff out as we wrap up.
Yeah. Well, adds to the mystery, adds to the nuance. Part of the world building. All things to discover within the book. So, did you ever use him in like a D&D campaign, like a tabletop game or anything like that?
Yeah, two really brief campaigns, like way back when I was still in college, so like early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's been a while, and like I said, he's mostly transitioned to like my primary like RPG video game character.
Right. The kind of the archetype that you go to build. No,
Yeah.
I get you. Very cool. Yeah, I'm part of a tabletop RPG thing with Red Valkyrie, so I'm
Right.
I'm always curious to hear about that. Plus, remember I mentioned Poison Elves earlier. Drew Hayes' character Lucifer was actually a tabletop RPG game. He was actually a tabletop RPG character. He was Dungeons and Dragons. He actually had to be retired because he was too powerful He got up to a certain level, and he was like one-shotting bosses. So
That's crazy.
Had to be retired.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I love it when characters are made for something else, like their origins start something here, and then the character is just so much fun that it refuses to go quietly. So it needs to be given something else. It needs to be transported to a new medium.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you look at what Joe Mad did with Battle Chasers, that was basically like the campaign that he and his friends ran through high school and college.
Was it really? I did not know that.
Yeah,
all these years I did not know that.
Yeah, that whole
it
thing
makes sense.
Yeah, that whole thing is just basically a transcription of their session.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that. The things you learn, ladies and gentlemen, the things you learn.
Scroll down a little more. More of a Sweet Alice type. Okay.
Is that? I mean, there's also this one down here.
Yep.
I think this might be the ones that she's talking about. She seems to like red locks.
Yeah, I wanted to create very much a Betty and Veronica dynamic.
Oh, okay. So there'll be interaction between the Sweet Alice and Red Locks.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
I mean, his gal Friday. So yeah, sure.
Yeah. So like there is going to be interaction, and Sweet Alice is definitely more than just a barkeep. She has a history with a training guild, in both combat and sorcery. So little by little, she's going to be integrated more and more into future volumes of the series.
Right on. This is the beginning, folks. Oh wait, yeah, I'll just leave it right there. This is the beginning, folks. This is where you jump in on. This is where it all begins.
As I always say with every campaign, we'd love to have each and every person listening come along for the ride.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up if nobody has any other questions and there's no more directions from the chat. Combat and sorcery. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have we met? Yes. Yes. No, I get you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. Mike, thanks for coming to hang out and bringing Longshadow along.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about this. Guys, link is in the description. Frog G has dropped the link in the chat, as well as Flying Feline has. So grab that link, check out the book, go back it, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Later.
Peace. Let's see.